Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope your day is going wonderful. Thanks for joining me. Today we are going to create 20 cards with the Spellbinders card kit of the month for February 2021. This month's kit is so fun. It's called Let Your Heart Soar. And the dies this month are so neat. They create this beautiful hot air balloon. I created this during the unboxing, so if you guys want to check out how I made it, I'll list the unboxing at the end of the video here. So we're going to use these cloud dies here. We're going to die cut out 3 white clouds and 3 gold clouds. And instead of giving them a silver lining, we're going to give them a gold lining. I'm just going to use some glue to adhere them. The kit does come with foam squares and double-sided tape. You could use that if you'd want, but just since I'm making 20 and the video is running a little long, I chose to use my own tape runner and glue just to speed up the process. Once my gold lining is adhered, we're going to go ahead and work on our background. I have 2 pieces of pattern paper. The darker color here measures 3 1/4 inch by 4.5 inches. We're going to mat that on the lighter colored cardstock. Both of these are from the pattern paper. Basically they're tone on tone colors, but the larger pink pattern paper is 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches. Now I think the darker pink is perfect color for a sentiment. I'm going to stamp the sentiment in the stamp set this month. It says, "Go where your dreams take you." We'll stamp that with Versamark ink, and then I'll heat emboss with white embossing powder. I think the color of the pattern paper was dark enough so I could heat emboss with white. So there's my sentiment. We're just going to wipe off that anti-static powder, and then we'll adhere this to our card base. Now, since I'm making 20 cards, we only have 10 white card bases, but I did score and fold some of the colored cardstock in the kit to create the rest of my card bases. Okay, once our panel is adhered, we're going to go ahead and flip over our clouds and our balloon, and we'll put some foam adhesive behind there. We're going to do a little bit of layering. Now I'm not going to add too many bells and whistles with card number 1, only because there's a lot of gold going on, and then the sequins are nice and sparkly too, so we don't need to do much. We'll add our hot air balloon, and I didn't put any foam adhesive underneath the basket portion, only because we can add a cloud underneath there for it to sit on, which makes it more stable. And that finishes off card number 1. Very pretty. Excuse me. Okay, for card number 2, we are going to use an embossing folder. This is from Fun Stamper's Journey, and it's called Above the Clouds. I'm taking a card front panel, which is standard 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch panel, and I went to the die cutting machine and embossed that. We're going to adhere this panel directly to our card front, so it's going to fit the entire front of our card base. It just embosses some real pretty clouds in the background. Next, we're going to use one of the chipboard doodle frames. I did trim down a piece of the cloud pattern paper so we could put it behind our frame, kind of create a little scene. I'm going to stamp a part of my sentiment on the very bottom of that cloud pattern paper. I chose Sending You, and I'm just stamping with Versamark ink. After we have that all done, I'm going to flip it over and add some foam adhesive behind it, and then this is going to go on our card base. I'm going to place it a little wonky. Next, I have this little heart banner. It's really cute. It has little bows at the end. I'm going to place that over the frame. It was like the perfect size. And to finish my sentence, I'm going to add the sentiment that says "a little note." This month we have coordinating dies that will die cut that out from the stamp set. So I stamped it and die cut it out during the unboxing, and I'm going to put it to good use on this card, along with our little bird with the envelope. I colored that in during the unboxing too, guys. So if you want to know how I colored it, just check it out over there. Okay, we are going to add some of the puffy stickers. These little hearts in here fit the same hearts on that little banner or bunting perfectly, so it adds dimension. And so that finishes card number 2. For card number 3, we're going to make a butterfly card. I'm going to go ahead and adhere a piece of the rainbow pattern paper that measures 4 inches by 5 1/4 to our card base. So we have a little bit of a white border. And then after we have this adhered, I'm just going to straighten it out a bit. I thought we would bring in some black splattering. So I'm going to bring in an acrylic block, and for my splattering, you could use acrylic paint, any kind of medium you want to add black splatter, but I'm just going to use one of my watercolor brush markers in black and just tap some splatters in the background. I just wanted a little bit of extra black. The butterflies have black detail, and I thought this would make a nice little accent. Now, hindsight, I think I would have did this before I adhered my pattern paper to my card base. I had one big black blotch on the edge here of my card base, and I think it would look better without that, but you know what they say about hindsight. Okay, we have a piece of vellum that measures 1 3/4 inches wide by 4 inches tall. I just evenly spaced my butterflies. I picked the butterflies that were in the butterfly sticker set that matched, and then I went through the die cut pack and found the sentiment says take flight. I'm going to use that for our sentiment. Once they're adhered, I'm going to flip it over, and to give my vellum a little floating look, we're going to add some more foam adhesive behind our butterflies. This way you can't see it, but it looks like the vellum's floating. For finishing touches, I'm just going to go over the butterfly wings with my Nuvo Simply White crystal drops for a little extra detail, and that is card number 3. Okay, we're going to jump into card number 4, and we're going to start off by doing a little die cutting with my essential square dies. These are so nice because they have a dotted detail on the squares. Once my square is die cut out, I trim down a piece of the pattern paper with the rainbows on it. It's real pretty. It has gold accent on there. This is 4 inches by 5 1/4. We're just going to adhere this directly to our card base, making sure our rainbows are right side up. And then I also have a small square that I created with a dotted line pattern paper. The square size is 2 1/4 inches. I think we're going to mat this on some gold cardstock just to pick up some of that gold in our background. And I'm just going to adhere it to a corner and use my scissors and trim off the excess. I just had an extra piece here that we're going to use. And then this should fit perfectly on the inside of those dots on our essential square die that we cut out. And we're putting the black dotted line horizontal on this card. We're going to use one of the fun 3D stickers. We're going to use the rainbow, and it has its own sentiment that says dream big. We're going to add that, and then we're going to finish it off with 3 sequins, and I think it turned out really cute. That's card number 4, guys. We're going to move along to card number 5. For card number 5, I have a panel that measures 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches. It's just with white cardstock. We're going to take this bird in the stamp set, and I'm going to basically cover the entire background with black ink. I didn't want to color in the background, but I did want a full background. So we're just going to stamp this bird all over it, and I think that looks real fun. I just twisted it and turned it so some of them are upside down. I'm also going to stamp the same bird on some Nina cardstock. I'm going to stamp it once more, but just the wing. Eventually we're going to fussy cut out this bird and then fussy cut out the wing. I thought we're going to make a birthday card, so we're going to take the birthday hat in the stamp set and give this little bird a birthday hat too. I colored the bird in with my Copic markers along with the wing. I did fussy cut the wing all the way to the line because we're going to do a little bit of layering, and then I stamped the sentiment that says a little bird told me it's your birthday with Versamark ink on some black cardstock, and I heat embossed it with white embossing powder. Okay, I added some twine, just wrapped it around the left side of this panel twice. This is black licorice twine, and then I tied the bow towards the top. We're going to go ahead and adhere this panel to our card base. This is one of the card bases that I had created with the cardstock this month. It's the darkest blue. There's two shades of blue. There's a light and a dark. But we're going to center this. And then when I stamped my birds, I made sure that one of the birds was facing right side up in the position that I wanted it to be. So the bird that I colored in, we're going to layer on top of the bird that I stamped here. So basically we have the same bird underneath our colored in image. And then I layered the wing on there to give it a little dimension. And then we need a place for this little bird to stand on, so I thought the sentiment would be a perfect place. I just popped it up with some foam squares, tucked it underneath our little bird's legs, and that is card number 5. Pretty cute little card. I think this turned out real fun. Okay, we're moving on to card number 6. We're going to use the 3D airplane for card number 6. So I have my elements. This is some of the leftover cloud pattern paper. It's trimmed down to 3 inches wide, and I'm adhering it to a 3.5 inch wide piece of white cardstock. The length of it is, for both of them, are 5.5 inches, so it's going to be the length of my card base. I'm adding adhesive behind it after I layer them together. We're going to adhere them to our pale blue cardstock, and then we're going to take one of the smaller square doodle frames, add that on our card base, and then we're going to put our little 3D plane, which are so cute. I'm going to add it right in the center of our frame here. For our sentiment, I grabbed 2 sentiments from our die cut pack. The white with the gold says free spirit, and then the little black strip says follow your. So it'll say follow your free spirit. I thought that would be fun with the plane. I think we have a black heart left over in our puffy stickers, so we're going to grab that and put it next to our sentiment. And then I'm going to go over our plane with a little bit of journey glaze. This way it shines a little bit like our floating banner in the back. I think it's just going to go well together. But that finishes card number 6. Okay, for card number 7, we're going to use an embossing folder. This is the Love Stripes embossing folder. I embossed the panel that was a card front size with the lighter pink cardstock, and it's going to give me some diagonal embossed detail on my panel. I'm just going to adhere that to the front of the same color card base that I created, and then we're going to take a little piece of white cardstock that measures 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches. We're going to mat that on some gold cardstock. On the very bottom, we're going to stamp the sentiment that was in the stamp set that says friendship. It's all about the little things. I just love this sentiment. Stamped it at the bottom here. And then we're going to use one more of the 3D stickers. This is the little bird with the pink balloon. We're going to add that to our white panel. And then I picked out a few smaller flowers, the yellow and the blue colored flowers from our die cut pack. I'm adding 2 to the right of the sentiments, and then in the puffy stickers there's a light blue and a yellow puffy flower. I added that to the top area, and then I also added a little blue heart there and some leaves. We're going to flip this over, and I'm going to directly adhere that to my card front, and then I'm going to finish it off with some journey glaze to the center of my flowers. And that is card number 7. For card number 8, we're going to use the tag. I'm going to grab a black eyelet, and we're going to use the crocodile and add an eyelet to the very top. It just adds a little extra detail. After we have our eyelet added, I'm going to bring in some more of the black licorice twine and thread it through. I'm not going to tie a bow with it just yet. I do have some leftover pattern paper that is that dotted line paper in the 6x6 paper pad. I'm going to adhere that to my card base, but I'm going to adhere it so the lines on it are vertical. Now the size of this is 3 3/4 inches by 5.5. Well, it will be after I trim off the bottom here. And we're just putting it right in the center. I'm going to go ahead and take my tag, add adhesive behind this, and then we're going to place this a little bit to the left on our panel. And then we'll go ahead and tie our bow once it's adhered. For this card, we're going to use another one of the 3D stickers. There's a real pretty flower in there. We're going to put that on our card. And then I also have the die cut birdcage. I did pop it up with a couple pieces of foam adhesive. This is going to go in this, basically in the center of the tag. And then we're going to add our flourish to the right of it. Now I have the sentiment that says celebrate. That came from the die cut pack. And then I did pick out the little blue bird. I thought that'd be cute to be sitting on the sentiment, and as if it was in the bird cage. And you can see I also added the black leaf that was in the die cut pack. Just add our little puffy sticker, our little bird in the bird cage. And for finishing touches, I'm not going to do much, just add a little bit of glossy accents to the center of that polka dotted flower. Since there's some flower acetate pieces in there, I think when you add the Journey glaze, it's just going to make it a little bit more shiny. That was card 8. Now we're going to move along to card 9. I'm going to use my elegant twist circle dies. These are so pretty. I'm going to die cut out one with white cardstock and then a backing with gold. We're going to layer them both together. So behind that twist is some gold detail. I have a 1-inch strip of the rainbow pattern paper. We're going to adhere this to the right of the card. We're going to leave about a 1/2 inch from the edge. And then I did trim down a little bit off of my circle and added my circle directly to my card base. In the die cut pack, there's a sentiment that says, "Let your dreams take flight." I'm going to add that right in the center of my circle. And then I have 2 of the dragonflies. We get 2 of each of the die cuts. So these are both the same, but I'm just adding a small foam square in the middle so I can fluff the wings up. And we're going to add both of those along with a few of the gold sequins here. I'm just adding them with some glue. And then that will finish card number 9. We're moving along pretty fast, guys, but my video ran a little bit long, so sorry about that. That's card number 9. We're going to move along to card number 10. We're going to use one of those doodle frames, but these make fast and easy shakers. So I'm going to remove the release paper, add a piece of acetate that's the same size, and then I did trim down a piece of white cardstock that was the same size too. I added foam adhesive behind my frame. If you wanted to go 2 layers, you could, but I find 1 layer works just fine. We're going to add our gold sequins and fill it up pretty good. When you add 1 layer, they move, but not too much, which is nice. So they kind of stay a little stationary. We're going to go ahead and add the backing. And then our shaker is good to go. I do have a couple of the chipboard, kind of like chipboard butterflies that were in the same color, that real pretty blue color. And then I do have the sentiment that says, "You did it." It's a little blue banner. We're going to go ahead and add both the butterfly. I had 3 butterflies, but I only going to end up adding 2. I did add my sentiment at the very bottom. Now, as I adhere that to my card base, I thought it kind of looked a little plain. So we're going to take off the shaker, and I'm going to bring in some more of that black licorice twine. We're going to wrap it around 3 times and tie a bow towards the top. And then we're going to go ahead and reattach our shaker down the center. And I think we just needed that extra touch of black for finishing touches. But that finishes card number 10. Just making sure to get them straight and even here. And there's some glitter accent on those butterflies, which makes it really nice. Okay, moving along to number 11. Number 11 is a super easy card, guys. We're going to adhere some of the polka dot pattern paper that was in the 6x6 paper pad. It measures 3 inches by 4 1/4. We're matting that on some white cardstock. I popped it up with a piece of fun foam, and then we added the balloon die cut, and then 2 of the sentiments that were in the die cut pack. We have "Celebrate This Day" and "Hooray." The balloons and the sentiments we all popped up with foam adhesive also, and I put them on the pale purple, the lavender cardstock that we created a card base with, but I added a few sequins for a little sparkle for this birthday card, and that finishes number 11. For number 12, I went ahead and, well, I have my card base. This is, and I don't have very much white cardstock left, So I decided to go ahead and emboss the front of my card base. So I'm going to run that through my die cut machine, and it embossed beautifully. I used the Love Stripes embossing folder, and if I can find everything that I used today, I'll list it below if you guys want to check it out or want to know where to find it. Okay, I have a square that I created with white cardstock. It's actually a 2.5 inch square, and I matted that on the purple square that measures 3 1/4 inches. I stamped the sentiment that says "Sending You," and then I did place some fun foam behind it. We're going to adhere this square in the center of our card base, and remember we embossed the front, and it actually looks really neat since the card is textured a little bit. That embossing folder looks really neat on there. Now I just did add the hugs and kisses that we die cut out with the unboxing. In the stamp set there's a sentiment that says hugs and kisses, and there's a die that coordinates to cut it out, so I just adhered that at the very bottom of our sentiment. I added journey glaze to the very top of the heart, and I love doing this. I added some of my sparkle cuts. Sparkle cuts are iridescent glitter, and when it dries, it just dries like a jewel, I would like to say. And I did that to the heart on our little 3D envelope there. So that is card number 12. We're going to start on card number 13 here. Card number 13, we're going to create a floral card. We're going to start off by creating a panel. I'm just using the dotted detail in my Essential Rectangles die set, and I'm adding it to a panel that measures 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches. This is going to give me dotted detail right on the edge. We're going to go ahead and adhere that to our light pale lavender card base. Before we do that, I do want to add some black splatters to this background. We're just going to do the same thing we did with our previous card. Just add some ink to the acrylic block and do a little splattering with our brush, and then heat dry it with our heat gun. For this card I did add some twine. I wrapped it around twice and then tied a bow. We're making sure it's centered, and I'm adhering it to that pale lavender cardstock. And then we can arrange our flowers. I picked out some of the flowers from our die cut pack, and then also the sentiment that says "Hello You." I took some of the gold cardstock and created a circle that was slightly bigger than that purple "Hello You," and we're going to mat them both together. I'm going to go ahead and pop that up with foam adhesive and place it on our card panel, and then we're going to arrange our flowers right around it. We're going to go above and below our twine, and then add our little pale blue leaves. And I think that looks so pretty. Last but not least, we're going to add a few of the gold sequins. Bring out some of that gold that's in the sentiment and that's in the center of the flowers. And that finishes 13. Okay, for card number 14. This one I want to do something a little different. I'm taking a circle die, and we're going to cut a window out of this panel of purple cardstock. It measures 4 inches by 5 1/4. And then I'm going to keep that circle die because we're going to cut a window out of our card front. But I'm going to take a piece of vellum and a piece of acetate. I've never did this before. I wasn't sure if it was going to work. But I'm taking the double-sided adhesive that came in the kit, and I'm going around the edge of my vellum. I wanted to create a flat shaker. Not really a shaker because they're not going to move around, but like a flat window with sequins in it. Once I have my vellum covered on the edges, I'll remove the release paper. And then I do have a piece of acetate that's the same size of my vellum. I'm going to go ahead and take my gold sequins. And you wouldn't think, but there's a lot of gold sequins in this little bag. I'm going to kind of fill it up and flatten them out. And then I'm going to take my acetate and sandwich these both together. So this piece is actually super duper flat, which is so nice because it's great for mailing, but you have that little extra gold detail. I'm going to flip over our window, add some adhesive behind it, and then I'm going to place our little shaker right behind it. So the vellum is on the very back and the acetate's on the front, but it's super duper flat. Now I'm going to take that circle die and cut out a window in the front of my card base. And then I'm going to go ahead and add adhesive behind my little shaker element, and then add this panel directly to the top. So this is really nice if you don't want to pay for extra shipping, but you like that little sparkle detail. When you open it up, you see the vellum, so it's nice and clean on the inside. You might want to try that. That was really fun. I'm going to embellish this with a few of the die cut pieces. It's the vase with the flowers in it, and then the sentiment that says "So very thankful." I did pop those up with foam adhesive. But that finishes that card. For card number 15, we're going to create a fairy card. I have a panel with this pattern paper that measures 3 inches by 4.5 inches, and I'm going to place that directly on my yellow card base. This is made with the pale yellow cardstock in the kit. Once this is centered, I did die cut out 4 clouds, 2 small ones and 2 large ones with that same cloud die that we used for card number 1. We're going to pop these up and place them on our panel. And then I have the little fairy die cut, and then I have the little heart balloon. The fairy is actually she has a little wand with a star on it. I thought we would replace that wand with a balloon. So we're going to go ahead and add her. I'm going to go ahead and add the balloon, just add some adhesive behind it. And I think she's a little too high, so we're going to add the balloon and we'll lower her just a little bit. Lovely. In the die cut pack there is a sentiment that says "Hello Sunshine." I'm going to add some foam adhesive behind my little heart. I'm going to go ahead and add my last cloud, and then we'll go ahead and add some adhesive behind our "Hello Sunshine," and I'm going to tuck that just under our little fairy's legs, and then I'm going to take my scissors and angle the right end here. Since she is a fairy, we got to have some sparkle, so I'm going over her dress and also the heart balloon with my Journey Glaze. And then I'm going to take some more of those sparkle cuts and I'm going to add some sparkle to that. So when it dries, it just dries shimmery and shiny. And I did her bow too, guys. So just going to add a little sprinkle. If there's a little left over, I just hold this over my garbage can and I blow off the excess. But when it dries, there's no shed, which makes it really nice. So that's card number 15. Now for card number 16, since we have made some shakers, we're going to make another shaker. I have the little photo frame that was in the die cut pack that says "Best Day." I'm going to add adhesive behind it, add a piece of acetate, and then flip it over and add some foam tape behind it. We're going to make a mini shaker. Now, this pattern on the photo frame is the same pattern that's in our pattern paper. So we're going to utilize that. After we have foam adhesive adhered, I'm going to go ahead and add some sequins on the inside. I'm not going to fill it up too much, but just enough. And this does move around a little bit, so that's nice about this. I'm going to add the backing. Fill it up, make sure that it's not hitting the foam adhesive. I just cut a piece of white cardstock that would fit behind it. This way we can play around with placement a little bit more. And that's our little photo frame shaker. I do have one of the purple butterflies that we got in the kit. We're going to add that to the very top of the photo frame. Now for my sentiment, there was a little tag that says "One of a Kind." I threaded some black twine through it. I didn't tie a bow just yet, but I did add foam adhesive. We're going to go ahead and build our background. I have a purple panel that measures 4 inches by, actually it measures card front size. The purple panel is going to go on our entire card front, so it's 4 inches by 5.25. I angled the dotted or dash lined pattern paper, added some gold and some twine to it. We're going to adhere this entire panel to a yellow card base. I didn't have any purple card bases left, so I'm going to adhere it to yellow. That's why I made a full panel to fit the front of the card. Next, we're going to adhere our photo frame and then add our sentiment right below it and tie a bow at the end of the tag. almost as if the tag was attached to the twine that was on our panel there. But that's card 16. For card 17 is a pretty simple one. We're going to use, again, one of those doodle frames, but I wanted to create a backing for it, so I'm just taking some white cardstock and trimming around it kind of loosely because you're not going to be able to see it. But the nice thing about the doodle frames is they're adhesive back, so we're going to remove the release paper and attach that white cardstock behind it. And then I have 3 pieces from the die cut pack. 2 hot air balloons, and then the sentiment says celebrate this day. I thought we would put the balloons in the center of our window or our frame here. We're going to actually layer them together and then pop them up all at once along with the sentiment. For this card, again, we're going to use a green card base, so my panel size measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. It's going to cover the entire card front. Ideally, if I could have brought in some white cardstock for my stash, but I thought we would utilize the kit. So I adhered our panel, our little hot air balloon pattern paper. We're going to add our window frame right in the center, and then tuck our sentiment a little bit underneath those balloons. And that is card number 17. Now for card number, we're going to move along to card number 18. I'm going to use the circle that was left over for when we die cut out our real flat shaker window with the acetate and the vellum. We're going to utilize that circle that we die cut out. I'm going to take the little heart banner or bunting that was in the stamp set, and it has a little bit of curve to it, and I thought I'd go around this circle perfectly. So it actually works perfect for if you stamp it 5 times. Now you're overlapping the little ribbons or the little bows on the ends of the bunting. So when you're overlapping them, they don't look very pretty, but I have a way that we could fix that. But this is the 4th time, just following the curve, twist, and then we'll stamp one more time. I'm stamping with VersaFine Onyx Black ink for this. Now since we overlapped those little bows, they don't look very pretty. So I'm going to take a black marker and turn those bows into little small hearts, just kind of continuing the pattern. So at the end of the buntings for each row, there's little black hearts instead of the outline of a heart. So that's a quick way to fix it. I also trimmed down a piece of the pattern paper with the butterflies on it. This panel is a card front size, so it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. We're going to adhere that to some pale green cardstock right on the front, and then we'll go ahead and take our little circle that's going to go right in the center. We're going to directly adhere that with our tape, and then I have one of the larger butterflies that have the pink and the green in it. We're going to use that for the center of the circle. They already have foam adhesive behind it, so you just take it off of the plastic sheet and then you can adhere it. Now it wasn't centering right for me in the circle, so I thought to fix it we would add antenna to the butterflies. So I cut a real thin strip of black cardstock and then I just folded it in half. I added a little adhesive at the very end of the butterfly. And it creates perfect antennas, guys. Just thin strip of black cardstock. I evened out those strips, and then I'm going to curl the end a little bit with my scissors. You can see it kind of goes forward. And just a little detail like this kind of fills in that circle. So if you want antenna on your butterflies, it's very easy to do. I added my butterfly, and then I want to put the sentiment that says Happy Day, this came from the die cut pack, right in the center of the butterfly. You can't fluff out the wings, but you can see the sparkle on it, which is really nice. This is where I'm going to go in with the black marker and just cover those doubled up little bows that kind of got messed up and turn them into hearts. So it's a pretty easy fix. And if you don't want to do this, you could just maybe add little drops of black crystal drops on each of those for a little added detail. But this is pretty easy to do. And that is card number 18. Now we're going to move along and make a little fairy card here. So I have some gold cardstock that I trimmed out of the Essential Circles die set. And then I'm going to adhere that to a larger circle that we created with the purple pattern paper. I'm actually using my scissors and trim off the left side of the circle. And then we're going to adhere it all the way to the edge of the left of our card base. I like doing this. I do it often, but I just like the look of it. Okay, once this is adhered, I have the last of our 3D stickers. We used everything. In fact, you guys could probably use the acetate that the 3D stickers came on to create your shakers. So that's a nice option. But I added my little fairy, and for my sentiment, I'm using the sentiment in the die cut pack that says thankful for you. I'm kind of gonna pop it up with foam adhesive and tuck it under her leg. And then I have 3 of the purple die cut flowers. We're going to go ahead and pop each one of these up and add them right next to the fairy, just above the sentiment. And then for finishing details, I'm going to go ahead and bring in some black Nouveau crystal drops. Now the center of the largest purple flower I did add a sequin to bring out some more of the gold. And then I used my black pen and added dotted detail to that flower. But that is card number 19. Now for my final card today, I'm going to create a Valentine, and I'm using both the XOXO tags that were in the kit. We're going to embellish each of these tags with an eyelet. I'm going to bring in some gold eyelets. Before we do this, but we're going to do a little stamping and heat embossing, but you can completely skip this step, guys, because I end up covering it up. There's a little heart in the stamp set, and I'm taking my Versamark ink and stamping that heart in the center of each one of the O's. And then I added white embossing powder and I'm melting it. I did treat my little tags with probably a little too much anti-static powder tool, so I'm just taking my stamp chamois, which is not, it's just barely damp. I'm just wiping off that excess powder. But so we have 2 hearts, but see, I wanted both these tags to be on my card, but I wanted to be opposite end because I want to add some eyelets and twine to each tag, and I didn't want 2 bows on the same side. Well, you'll see here in a minute. After I add my gold eyelets, I did thread each bow with my white twine. I'm using some whipped cream twine. Now I'm using a panel that I created with the dark pink. It's a corally pink, guys. It's really pretty cardstock that came in the kit. It's slightly smaller than my card base, so it's 4 inches by 5 1/4. And here is where I'm trying to, it didn't look right when both the tags were facing the same way. I really wanted them the opposite way. So I placed them on my panel the opposite way. So the bottom tag, the hearts are upside down. But we're going to fix that in just a bit. But I did stamp the sentiment that says hugs and kisses. Just the hugs and kisses with the sentiment that was in our stamp set. And then I added 2 little gold hearts next to the hugs and kisses. They were in the die cut pack. Now to fix the little hearts that are upside down, I got to fix all the hearts. So I'm just going to take some gold sequins and add gold sequins to all the center of the O's. And it actually worked out really nice. I liked it even better because there's some gold sparkle in there. Kind of went with the gold eyelets that I used. But that's my little Valentine card. It's a pretty simple, easy card, but I like the way it looks. That is card number 20, guys. Thank you for bearing with me. This has been a long video, but I had so much fun. You know what? I didn't have enough time to show you guys everything that was left over in the kit, but there's still lots and lots left over, and I made 20 cards. I just couldn't believe it. So it is a great value. The link for the card kit subscription is down below. If you guys are interested, Spellbinders kits are always packed. Stamps, dies, paper pads, embellishments, card bases, and I think you are going to love it. If you're a card kit lady like I am, I know you'll love it. But these are all the 10, well actually I was going to say 10 cards I made, but it's 20 cards. And I had so much fun creating it with them. We're going to scoot these over and make more room for the next row. I'm trying to space them out because some of the journey glaze is still a little bit wet. And I have a tendency to want to layer them together, and then after I take pictures, they kind of get a little smushed. And speaking of pictures, if you guys want to see still shots, head on over to my blog. There'll be still shots of each picture over there if you guys want to check it out. But I love the way that Journey Glaze looks with the sparkle cuts. And everything that I used will be listed below if you guys are interested, like the sparkle cuts and the embossing folders. If they're available, I'll put them downstairs. But thank you so much for joining me. I wish you a fabulous day. Happy February 1st. Can you believe it's February already? I can't. It's zooming by, boy. Seems like the older I get, the faster it goes. But I hope your week is off to a great start. There's that little shimmer again from a little princess card. But have a great day, guys. We will see you again real soon. I'll be coming up with more videos with the small die of the month, large die of the month, and the stamp club, and the glimmer. So I'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.